Hello, I'm the official name rater. My job is to look through the first page of Google, review the nicknames provided by the internet, and then give my recommendations at the end. And as you can see, it's happened again. I ended up in one of the situations where I was going through and then I looked and it's like, oh, by the way, you're not recording audio, so redo everything, you piece of shit. So now I gotta redo everything. So this one starts off strong because there's several things wrong with it. Firstly, he says that it translates into an unstoppable force. No, it doesn't. I don't know where he got that information from, but it's wrong. And then if you just go ahead and look up what it is, it's apparently this plant thing found in Indonesia. Okay, but me personally, my brain thought of this. And when you consider that with the whole Indonesia, Indian elephant kind of thing, it makes a little bit of sense. So I don't hate the nickname, but it's definitely nothing at all what he said, and I don't know where he got his information from, and he's kind of fucking dumb. I don't know what Hannibal has to do with Donphan. I think maybe if you wanted to do that, maybe Sableye might be a better choice as a scary monster thing opposed to an elephant, but whatever. So a cultural lesson for you in the US. I grew up being taught that fanny meant vagina, and I'm pretty sure that was taught to me just because teaching a small child that this is what fanny means in UK English was probably a little bit too much for me when I was like 8, 9 years old. I grew up in the UK, so I don't really like the word fanny. I just don't think of it meaning butt. I'm like, that's not what it means. So, no. Rickroll, stupid old joke, but I kind of admire it for at least like having something there in relation to Donphan, so it's like a solid 3 out of 10, but it's also like a mega old joke that wasn't ever funny to begin with, so if you like terrible, this is just a thing for you. I don't have a problem with naming them based off of location, so Zanzibar, sure, if you want to do that, city, state, country, whatever, that's totally fine with me too. Now, I didn't think Dumbo because it doesn't look like Dumbo to me at all, but from having to fucking do this episode a second time, I've realized that Dumbo is the most popular choice. Now, if you chose this nickname before the year 2019 where they introduced a new elephant, you at least get a pass on that, but now there's a much better, more Dumbo-like option out there for you. I haven't watched Tarzan in over 20 years. I remember basically none of it, but yeah, if you want to do that, that's totally fine and acceptable. I'm pretty sure not many things in life have the name Tantor, so you could get away with it and it's totally fine. Peanut, I'm okay with naming them after food as well, and it works because elephants are associated with peanuts. I don't know if they're actually allowed to eat that or if that's just a thing cartoons taught us, but if you want to, sure. So sometimes when you click on a link and then you go back to Google will do this stupid little drop down thing like under the link, and it's like, well, how about you look this up, and like you try and click the link below it but you don't mean to, and you click on this other fucking thing. So basically I accidentally clicked on famous elephants and I saw Babar. I don't know or remember Babar in life at all, but apparently it's a famous elephant, so if you want to, there's another option. Now, I personally think naming it Ellie the Elephant is incredibly boring and uninspired, but it also kind of reminds me of this really terrible kids game I remember seeing in the mid-2000s. It was called Ella-Fun the Elephant, and it would shoot like butterflies in the air, and you were supposed to catch it in a net, and that was the whole thing. And that stupid idiot commercial stuck in my head, but I can't remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday. Thank you, brain. So if you wanted to do something like that, sure. A board game, why not? So Chugga Conroy's Donphan is apparently special enough to get its own little link at the top of Google, so good job. He chose Darmani based off of Majora's Mask. When I first watched that, I hadn't played Majora's Mask, so it went completely over my head and I didn't get it. But if you wanted to do the Zelda route, you could do Darmani, you could do Darunia, you could do Daruk, there's a lot of D-A-R-U's. You could just call it Goron if you wanted to, but I think all of these nicknames would fit Golem probably better as they're rock monster thingies, and they're also known for rollout, so that's my opinion, but I do think it also works with Donphan, and I kind of admire him for drawing that connection of roly bits and piecing that together. So I think it works, but I think it fits Golem better, personally. Okay, so we've reached the bottom, and honestly I do feel like it was kind of a bust, just because majority of it was just Dumbo, and that was it, just Dumbo. You had a couple here and there that were conversation topics, but nothing that I really feel stood out. So let's check the spreadsheet. So basically all of this right here is kind of crap. I wanted to highlight this just because I wanted to make sure I wasn't losing my mind. Eeyore's not an elephant. He's a donkey, because get it? Pin the tail on the donkey. Don't know what that has to do with anything, but fucking whatever. All of this was a bust. Highlighting the stuff though that I think are good, which really was basically only Chugga's idea of just Darmani, or you could do Darunia, Daruk, or Goron. I think those are all fine. But other ideas, actually this one I saw in a previous episode and I wrote it down for later. Someone had the idea of third wheel. I'm okay with that, that's fine. Not too much, it's just, hey look, there's an expression, and that's basically the end of it. And this one is, I'm going to call it a little bit obscure. I don't know how many people know about the Goemon games. There was a character in that which was used as a checkpoint in Great Adventure and as a map inside of Mystical Ninja, who went by the name of Mr. Elephant. And I was like, huh, you could technically apply that to either Donphan or Caparaja, and I think it would work because Mr. Elephant kind of, he's just a square thing. But yeah, that was my idea, and that's it. So in general, I would say it was kind of a bust, but at least there was a little bit of something to talk about at the end. So if you have any other ideas that aren't Dumbo, put them in the comments below. Give a thumbs up to the stuff that you think are good, and let's talk more about Donphan and Phanpy and elephants. Babar, Tantor.